Well, here we are. Here we are. Here we are. Live streaming. Not a big fan of live streaming. However, I think it's a chance for people to talk to me if they want to. And if they don't, they can just watch the video. That works too. So, my name is Murph. I am the host of this show. This is a show that is dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. And I want to welcome you all here to the Prog Monster. So, the topic we're doing today is the concert list that I have on my DVDs. So basically, I've probably got about 20, I think, varying degrees. Well, to be honest, there's probably only about 16 of those are DVDs, and then the other four are likely going to be old VHS, which I haven't watched for years because I don't have anything to play them on. However, I still want to keep them in case that changes. I did have most of those ones. Most of those ones are the Who. In fact, I think they all are. I think I have the Who in concert on five different concerts, and only the two are on DVD. The rest are on VHS. Very old concerts too. But anyways, so but these ones are all basically fairly new, I think. Just looking at them here. 6. There's 6 of them. I could have swore there was one other one, and I can't remember what it was. But anyways, it doesn't really matter. I've got 6 of them. Most of them are fairly new. I'm actually going to put them in the order that I bought them, just because that's the way I am. Yeah. This one here, I think, should be at the top, and then the last one at the bottom. Okay, so we've got basically 5 DVDs plus the last one has both CD and DVD. And so I'm going to kind of go over them, what I enjoy about them, what I maybe think I don't like about them or am not as impressed with, whatever it is. These are just my own opinions, of course. Some people may actually love these things in their entirety, and I can understand that. We tend, as rock people, we tend to absolutely love the stuff we love, and nobody can tell us that it ain't good, and we won't listen. And of course, everybody who plays that album or CD has to recognize that these guys are geniuses and they're masterpiece albums. And you know how it is, everybody's favorites are always masterpieces, and that's the way it should be. I've got like somewhere around 70, I think 71 masterpieces in my collection. These are albums basically that I love, that I consider masterpieces. Some of them may be considered junk by other people, but since I'm the only one that has to live in my own skin, that makes it easy for me to choose the stuff that I like. So, I'm going to start with the first one here. Just got to fix my hat. It isn't sitting properly on my head. I don't really want to blind anybody with my baldness. So hats are a necessity if I'm going to do this kind of thing. So the first one, this one I've had the longest, yet I've listened to only a couple times. The band's called Overhead, Live After All. So this is basically it's a DVD with 9 tracks on it. A bonus video also has an additional, looks like 7 tracks. And a bit of a biography of Alex Costello, who I believe is the main vocalist here. So the band members on this, of course, are Alex Keskitalo, vocals and flute, Jarko Katanuman, guitar, Yanni Pilkonen, bass, Tarmo Simonen, piano, and Poli 6, whatever that is, and Billy Songeblom on drums. So this is obviously a Finnish band. I came to discover this from a couple of albums that I quite like, but have not been able to get. They don't have them at the local record store that I go to, Encore in Kitchener. And I have not been able to order them through a Laser's Edge with Ken Goldblum. So I haven't been able to order them through the two main places I go. Sorry. I know I could probably order them online, but I don't really want to spend a ton of money. So I'm on holidays next month, so I'm going to make the trip to the Muddy Apple, if you want to call it the Big Apple or the Little Apple, Toronto, sorry. And get my and see if there's lots of record stores there. I'm going to try to make a trip around throughout the city and check out all of them. And maybe I'll find one that sells some kind of obscure or not as prominent progressive rock CDs, and then get some of the stuff from these guys, because I quite like these guys quite a bit. Just not getting to get an album by them makes it hard to really delve into them. So that's kind of my goal for this one. This is a pretty good concert too. I thought that the venue they were in was clear and concise. The musicianship's pretty good for these guys. I do like the vocalist sound quite a bit. Yeah, so my only kind of negative with this, not with the DVD though, but with the group, is that it's difficult to find their music on CD unless you want to spend money ordering it from their website, which I guess I could do, and I may eventually do that. But at this point in time, I got to be conservative with my money, and so as long as I have to stay in that regards, they're going to have to wait a bit. But it's a good concert. It's a nice DVD, pretty easy to watch. I do like concerts on DVD. The main reason I like them is I get that kind of a bit of that live experience without actually being in a building with people screaming and smoking and drinking and all the stuff that I love so much. Yeah. So this one's a good one. I recommend it if you can get it. I got it from Laser CD. I think I got almost all of these from Laser CD. Yeah, all the ones that I currently have, with exception of so four of them I got from Laser CD, and the other two I got from Encore. Okay, so the next one up, I like this one even more. I think this is really good. This is Osibisa. Live from the Marquee Club in England, in London, of course. 7 guys in the band. I've struggled with what to kind of call these guys. To me, they're definitely progressive. I don't know if you call them progressive rock. They have a lot of that African music vibe that you will get from a lot of that African music stuff. They formed in 1969. This concert is, I believe, from, it's not indicating here, but I think I get this feeling it was from like early 70s, maybe like 71. It says the Marquee, recorded at the Marquee Club 25th anniversary celebrations. So whenever the Marquee Club opened on their anniversary, on their 25th anniversary is when it's done. Now, if that means that it could be later, let me see if I can find it. Doesn't say really. Oh, 83. So it was recorded in 83. So that makes reasonable sense to me. It's basically just a concert. Everybody, there's a lots of instrumentation on these guys. Are really quite talented, and I quite enjoy their music. This was introduced to me by Ben. He gave me these as one of the other prog band war that I did a couple of years ago, and so I immediately took to these guys. And when I saw this live from London, Osibisa on Laser CD, I had to have it, so I ordered it. It was one of the CDs I ordered. So it's really quite good. The vocals and the music is quite interesting. It's kind of a combination of that progressive stuff, but there's a lot of African vibes to it, which I enjoy quite a bit because I'm a Paul Simon, like Paul Simon's. I like some of the Peter Gabriel stuff that takes that on as well. Yeah, so quite good. Osibisa. Next up is this is I believe it's two. No, it's just one CD. This is called Camel Footage II. So basically, I guess there's a Camel Footage 1, but I didn't see that one. Bought this also from Laser CD, featuring Andrew Latimer, Peter Bardens, Andy Ward, Doug Ferguson, Richard Sinclair, Mel Collins, Jan Strelhaus, Colin Bass, Kit Watkins, Chris Rainbow, Ton Sherpenzil, Richard Close, Paul Burgess, Guy LeBlanc, Dennis Clement, and Tom Brislin. So you've got a kind of it's a bit of a range. So it's a concert, but it's a multiple concert. So you've got that. So it has different songs performed at different stages of the group's history, if you might prefer that. So it opens, there's two tracks in the opening one, Artilis and Arubalalba. I'm not getting that right, but that was off of the Camel album, of course, and the other one is off Moon Madness. And then they go to the Hammersmith Odeon in London for White Rider and Another Night. And then in 77, the BBC, Sights and Sounds of the Hippodrome, and then a bunch of songs there. This one featuring Latimer, Bardens, Ward, Sinclair, and Collins. So Sinclair, of course, for those of you who are not familiar, is a member of Caravan. So there's a bit of a crossover here between the two. This also is from the Snow Goose, Rain Dances, and Camel, their debut album. That's the music from there. Then 1981, they do a Shepperton Studios for the Old Grey Whistle test, featuring the song Lies. And then in 1984, the Hammersmith Odeon in London. Also, this is basically featuring the album Nude. And then 2000, Troubadour in Los Angeles. Different groups of guys from the album Camel and Harbor of Tears. And then in 2003, The Catalyst at Santa Cruz, previously unreleased stuff, Fox Hill featuring Latimer, Bass, Clement, and Brislin from the album And Nod and a Wink. And then The Last Farewell, an outro from Nude. So this is basically just a bunch of stuff that they did, individual stuff, bits and pieces of concerts, some of it a little bit more in depth than others, but that's basically what this is. I have to tell you, it's about 80 minutes running. Of course, you get to see them play live, which is good. You get to see everybody do their thing. That's good. I just found this one didn't really grip me. Didn't find it great. I didn't hate it or anything like that. Didn't find it great, but I have only gone through it once. I could have been tired at the time, So that's at least a possibility. But I bought it, and I'm going to eventually watch it. I had it next to my TV as one of the ones I wanted to rewatch again. So that is Camel Footage II. Most of the stuff is early Camel, which I like quite a bit. The next one up, for whatever reason, this is a Blu-ray, and I have only watched this once, and for some reason I haven't gone back to it, which you'd think I would. I think part of the problem here is that I wanted to be much more into their DVD, into their CDs, get a real feel for their music before I started watching this live one. But this will probably be next on my list to listen to. This is Scrape Across the Sky from IQ. I think it's good. There are only, I think, 10 tracks they do here. Special features, over 3 hours of extras. The encores, The Million Demons, Window Peak, The Projectors, the Until the End, which is the live festival in 2000, the Lorelei Festival in 2014, The Art of the Road of Bones, Peter Nichols in conversation with Tony Ligo, artist and designer, and then a photo gallery at the end. So basically there's this concert with a bunch of ad bonuses at the end. And it's really good because it's a Blu-ray, so it comes out very clear. And it does, this particular one comes with a booklet, I believe, yes. The others I don't think have it. This one has a booklet. There it is there, which also gives you a whack of stuff that you might be interested in as well. You know, these things often come with these sheets inside. This just breaks down what's happening, who's playing. So the main concert has Paul Cook on drums, Neil Durant on keyboards, Tim Isu on bass pedals, backing vocals, Michael Holmes on guitar, backing vocals, and of course Peter Nichols on lead vocals. Some nice shots of it. The good thing about this concert is it isn't in a huge venue, so it feels a little bit more intimate. I think this was during the Road to Bones tour. It could be wrong, but I think that's what it's indicating to me. But it's a nice little Blu-ray. Well, it's a digipack, really, but it's a Blu-ray. And I quite like this. So one of my favorite bands that I discovered since I've been on this channel, I would say there's about 10 bands that I really have grown to like since I've been on this channel that I really wasn't into prior to actually doing this channel. So if I gain nothing out of doing this channel, I've gained that. Next up is probably my favorite of them, and this one I've watched maybe 3 times now. I think this is absolutely great. I didn't know much about it when I got into it. I knew it was the band, Pink Floyd's At Pompeii. This is a DVD. I think there's just the one DVD, a little booklet, but it shows you the concert. So you've got feature film, basically about, there's this kind of beginning part that kind of talks about the making of this and what they were doing while they were there and all that kind of stuff. You know, just scenes around the concert and stuff like that. And then there's the actual concert, the Pompeii intro. And then you've got basically 2 parts here. So the first part is part 1 has echoes. Careful with that axe, Eugene, a saucer full of secrets, us and them, one of these days, set the controls for the heart of the sun, brain damage, Mademoiselle, knobs, and echoes part 2. And then the second, which I think is there's just little parts of them doing this, but there's nobody in concert. They're just playing it it's almost like a. Now, most of you have seen this. You know that it's basically just them rehearsing almost. And then the concert has the Pompeii intro featuring Echoes Part 1. Then Careful with That Axe, Eugene, a saucer full of secrets, one of these days, set the controls for the heart of the sun, and then Echoes Part 2. Now, if anybody who's seen this, knows that the outstanding part on this is the echoes part. Absolutely mind-blowingly good. When I first got the album Metal, I didn't really like it. I didn't mind echoes, but I didn't really pay too much attention to it. Didn't really capture my attention until I seen this, and then I went back, and now that album, I've been listening to it a lot lately. I really think it's a brilliant album. Maybe one of my favorite Floyd albums now. And of course, this is 2 hours and 27 minutes in length. Really good. Well worth whatever I paid. I don't even know what I paid for it. There was a couple of versions of it out there, but I bought this one because of the DVD. I guess I could have got the CD as well. Thought about it. I may go back and get it. But I really think this is fantastic. Maybe my best live concert on video. So the next one up is without a doubt one of the great ones. I've listened to this a half dozen times. I like it a lot. This is Steve Hackett's the Total Experience live in Liverpool. So there are 21 tracks here. I believe I'm going to open it up here for you. So it comes in a folding book, as you can see. There are a total of 4 discs, 2 of which are CDs, CD 1 and 2, and then the other 2 are DVDs. So basically, I believe the CDs, if I remember correctly, are the same as the DVDs. The DVDs are like a visual, and then the CDs play the same songs, but on CD, in case you don't want to actually sit there and watch anything on TV, you could listen to it here. And everything on here is really good. I was impressed with not just Steve Hackett's guitar playing, which I knew I would be, but I thought the drummer was very good. And I think it's Rob Townsend, the clarinet, and a couple of other instruments. I thought he was brilliant on all of them. I thought this guy's outstanding musicianship. And so Steve Hackett really does a tasteful job of putting stuff together. He's the only member of Genesis that's still playing the Genesis I like. Everybody else is kind of not playing that anymore. They're either playing the 80s and 90s Genesis, or they're just simply not touring or doing anything. Mike Rutherford's doing his thing on occasion, but he doesn't really play any of this either, and neither does Phil Collins. So, and I don't think Peter Gabriel does. He maybe does the odd one here and there. I don't know. But Steve Hackett's the only one who's kind of committed to playing that fantastic time period in music history for Genesis. So on here, he has a total of 23 tracks. The second one is Live in Liverpool, second DVD, which is behind the scenes documentary, Somewhere in South River. And then there's a few extra songs, I believe, that are a few extra videos, one at Wolflight, one at Long Song and a Vampire, and one at Corsian Fire. So this has the Corsian Fire intro, Spectral Mornings from his Spectral Mornings album, Out of the Body, Wolflight, Every Day, Love Song to a Vampire, The Wheels Turning, Loving Sea, Jacuzzi, Icarus Ascending, Star of Sirius, Ace of Wands, those 2 also with the Shadow of Hierophant, also Tower Struck Down. Is that one also on there? I think those 4 tracks are also on this particular album. Let me just see. Yeah, I think they're all on here. Maybe the Tower. Yeah, all 4 of them are on the Voyage of the Acolyte, which I like a lot. So he plays a bunch of stuff from that. And then the Genesis stuff, Get 'Em Out by Friday, Can Utility and the Coastliners, After the Ordeal, the Cinema Show, which is my favorite Genesis song probably, and he does a fantastic job of it. Isle of Plenty, The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, The Musical Box, Clocks, and First of Fifth. Yeah, his choice of musicians on this are really good. You've got Roger King on keyboards, Nad Sylvan, of course, vocals, fantastic singer. Can't say enough good stuff about him. Gary O'Toole on drums, percussion, and vocals. He's really good too. Rob Townsend, yeah. So he plays sax, woodwind instruments, percussion, vocals, keyboards, bass, pedals. I believe he played I thought he played the clarinet as well. Could have swore I saw him playing the clarinet here. Just excellent, excellent job. And then Ryan Stant on bass, 12-string Variax vocals and guitars as well. There are some special guests on the album that might interest you as well. John Hackett and Amanda Lehman. I believe Amanda plays the guitar here. And of course, John Hackett is the brother of Steve Hackett. So, and I believe he's flute. Is he flute? I believe he's flute. Doesn't say here what he played. Yeah, so this is really good. It's one of my favorite live albums now. Between this and Pompeii, probably my two favorite right now. I like them both. So that's my 6 live stuff. I've grown really to like these live DVDs quite a bit because I don't go to rock concerts for a number of reasons, not the least of which is I don't want to damage my hearing, which was seriously damaged early, but seems to be okay now. I don't really want to pressure it to have that happen again. The other thing is the cost, the travel, the experience. I was never a huge fan of huge crowds of people, so I don't really think concerts are good for me. I never really liked the really super loudness that you get at a lot of these concerts, plus all the people and the drinking and the smoking and all that stuff that goes with it. I mean, that's for some people, and I get it. For a lot of people, that is the quintessential, most important thing about rock music is to take that experience live. And there's something to be said for a live experience that you don't get from a studio album, which is kind of overproduced and you don't get the reality, the realness of it. So I do like the live concerts. I just can't go to them because the cost factor. If you ran out of the cost factor, maybe I would go. The problem with the cost factor is that I say to myself, for all the money I would spend on a live concert, I could literally buy their entire discography. And then I could listen to them anytime I wanted, which suits me better. So, and nowadays too, they're just so expensive and you're not always getting what you think you're getting either. At least if they're going to make a DVD in that, they got to put it together in a way that people are going to enjoy it. And when you go to a live concert, sometimes they're not even singing. It's being dubbed in or whatever you want to call it. And I don't really want to spend money to watch something like that. Or even some of these bands, it isn't even, they'll promote themselves as the band and you get there and there's really only like one guy left and he doesn't even do much anymore. So no thanks, not for me. But the DVDs I do enjoy. I pick my spots. The ones that I think are good, I buy. The ones that I think are not good, I don't buy. So that's basically my take on my DVD collection. I hope you get a chance to watch this and then we'll enjoy it. And so I'm going to sign off now. And thanks for those people who are interested in this stuff for participating. It helps the channel. And please hit the like and subscribe. And if you want to leave any comments on the video, you can do that as well. So take care. Have yourself a good evening and good night here from the Prog Monster.